So let's get right into it. We're talking football today, but with a twist. This isn't just for fans. This is for you, the person who has that deep, almost obsessive knowledge of a local football league. We're going to break down how you can take that passion and turn it into a real, scalable business, one with multiple income streams that goes way beyond just selling tips.
And this quote, man, it hits the nail on the head. This is the core problem with the whole tipster model, right? You sell a prediction, and the second that final whistle blows, poof, its value is just gone. It vanishes. Building a real business on something that disappears that fast, it's like trying to build a castle on sand. It's just not going to last.
So here's the big shift we need to make in our heads. A single football tip, that's just a commodity. It's the what. Anyone can copy it. But your deep local insight, the stuff you can't just Google, that's the real asset. That's the why behind the tip. And that, my friends, is what we're going to build a whole business around.
All right, so let's talk about this single tip trap, because honestly, it's a dead end. For way too long, this kind of business has been a total one-trick pony. You might have this incredible world-class expertise in, say, the Tanzanian Premier League, but you're only selling this tiny piece of what you know. This old model has some serious built-in problems that just stop you from ever growing.
And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? First off, a simple tip is so easy for someone else to copy and share, which just waters down your value. Second, like we said, the value completely disappears after the game. And what does all that lead to? It forces you into a race to the bottom, where you're competing on who's cheapest, not on who's the smartest. That is absolutely no way to build a premium, sustainable business.
Okay, so how do we get out of this trap? Well, it all starts right up here, in your head. It's about a massive mindset shift. This is the moment you have to stop thinking of yourself as just a tipster and start taking on a new, much more powerful professional identity. And here it is. This is your new job title. You are a niche sports analyst and a data curator. I mean, just listen to that. It's a total upgrade. You're not just predicting things anymore. You're the expert who collects, interprets, and packages up those deep, ungoogleable insights for a premium audience. You're out of the temporary tip business and into the evergreen knowledge business. All right, now that we've got this new identity locked in, we can start building. So let's talk about the first new revenue stream. And this one is all about monetizing the why, that powerful analytical engine you've built inside your brain. And here it is, your first big product, the Data Vault. Think about it. Instead of selling a one-off tip here and there, you launch a premium subscription service. You give people access to this treasure chest of data that you've been gathering for years. And just like that, you've created recurring, predictable revenue. Game changer. So what's actually inside this Data Vault? Well, we're not talking about just picks. We're talking about the building blocks of real analysis, detailed player performance metrics, nuanced data on how travel fatigue actually impacts your specific league, historical referee data, who calls a tight game, even how local weather patterns affect play. This is the high-value stuff that serious fans, fantasy players, and heck, even local journalists will pay good money for. Okay, so Stream 1 is all about giving your core audience, the dedicated fans, something way better. But Stream 2, this is where we get really creative. This is the outside-the-box power play that lets us tap into a completely new market, local businesses. We're going to call this B2B micro consulting. And the idea is simple, but it's powerful. You take all that deep knowledge you have about local fan behavior, what gets them excited, when they're most engaged, and you sell it as marketing intelligence to businesses right there in your community. You're using your data to solve their problems. And who are these clients? Just think about it for a second. We're talking local restaurant chains that want to run promotions on game days, sports bars trying to figure out how to pack the place, even the team's own sponsors who are desperate to get more bang for their marketing buck. They all need to understand the local fan, and guess what? You're the expert. And don't think this is some cheap add-on. No way. This is a high-ticket, low-volume service. A simple monthly intelligence report based on your data could easily go for something like this. And suddenly, you've got a whole new income stream that has nothing to do with the fan market. So you're probably wondering, what does one of these reports actually say? Well, it could be as simple and as powerful as this. Hey, based on our fan sentiment data, fans of Team X are most active on social media at 7 p.m. the night before a game. So you should run your ad campaign at that specific time to reach them. See, you're giving them actionable advice that helps them make more money. Okay,
So we've got our premium Data Vault subscription for the fans. We've got our B2B consulting service for local businesses. Now it's time for the third and final pillar. And this is where you take all that amazing analytical work you're doing and you become the definitive media brand for your niche.
So stream number 3 is niche content production. You're basically going to turn your analysis into amazing, in-depth content that satisfies the most dedicated fans, the ones who aren't just happy with the final score. They want to go deeper.
And what does that look like? Well, maybe it's a paid-only podcast. And 48 hours after every match, you do a deep dive post-mortem. You pull back the curtain and you show people what your data predicted, what actually happened on the field, and you explain why there was a difference. That kind of behind-the-scenes analysis is super valuable and creates yet another recurring revenue stream.
All right, so let's zoom out and pull this all together. When you layer these 3 streams on top of each other, you've pulled off a massive transformation. You're not just a tipster anymore. You're running a 3-dimensional media and intelligence company. It's a whole new ballgame.
And here's the roadmap, plain and simple. Step 1, you build your data vault, packaging up your core expertise. Step 2, you add on the B2B consulting, leveraging that same data for a new market. And step 3, you launch your niche content, using your analysis to build a media brand. You see how each step builds perfectly on the one before it?
I mean, the difference here is just night and day. You go from the old model, this one-trick pony, to the new model, a real 3D company. You're moving from a single product to diversified revenue, from being only focused on fans to serving fans and businesses. And maybe most importantly, you've transformed something with temporary value into a long-term valuable asset. You've basically bet on yourself and the power of your unique expertise.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. Because this whole framework, it isn't just about football, right? It's about any niche expertise you might have. So, what is your deep, local, ungoogleable insight? What's the thing you know better than almost anyone else? And how are you going to turn that into an asset?